Hi, I'm Leke Sholuade. I'm the founder of Black Valley, where we support Black talents to get into careers within tech or to realize their startup ambition.
Hi, I'm Adrienne Everett. I am an account director at LinkedIn. I'm on the marketing solutions team where I help enterprise clients with their digital strategy on the platform.
I think finding purpose, I'll say, is a journey for myself. And that started from me just being curious about what brings me joy and what comes to be more natural to me than everyone else. And that for me maybe started working for a charity, which is more about trying to help people. So I think that's always been quite consistent in areas that I find myself, which...
Yeah, I think to your point, finding your purpose is definitely a journey. I've seen that for myself evolve over time. I think that something that is core to purpose is having a personal mission in life, and more importantly, a legacy. So kind of thinking about what is it that you want to leave on society? How do you want to impact? And I think a common thread on that is like how we're impacting the lives of others. And I think sometimes people get really caught up on, I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. And I think knowing that you don't have to know, like sometimes I think I'm like, what is my purpose? Even though I feel like I'm kind of living my purpose as I continue to evolve in who I am as a person. But I think having intentionality around wanting to identify what your purpose is, wanting to impact others, is a journey, and I think it evolves, and I think that's perfectly okay. So all to say, I don't think that there's like, I found my purpose today, and so I know exactly what I'm going to do. And I do feel that that's not consistent with everyone. Some people feel like they know exactly what they're on this earth to do, and they can live that out from birth. Other people find it when, they have life experiences that help them to identify, this is what I'm meant to do. I think there's been times in my life where I felt like I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I think I'm at a crossroads right now where I'm feeling even more empowered to kind of pursue what I think that I've been placed on the earth to do. But that can change. And I think that's the beauty of purpose.
I also feel like when it comes to finding purpose, that's such a big question that people get lost in that big, okay, what's my purpose?
Yeah.
And actually, if you simplify that, and rather than focusing on that big question about what's my purpose, and look at the question from a point of view of actually, what do I enjoy doing? What comes natural to me? It kind of makes the question a bit more simple. And within that as well, I think there are people that we come across in our life that makes it easier for us to find our purpose. And I feel like they are, in a way, like an helper, someone like that kind of guide you within that. And for me, like quite early on in my career, I think I was in a space where I was working, straight out of university. I was doing like a job, loved the job, but I just felt like I could be doing more, and I wanted to do more. And I remember speaking to the CEO, like really randomly, like imagine like, quite a corporate charity in his setup, and having a conversation with the CEO straight away, say, you know what, I've got this big idea, I want to do something like bigger than myself rather than, being a salesperson within your company. And he had one of the most honest conversations with me. And one thing that he asked me was, okay, what are you passionate about? And I think that's always a big question, right? What comes to be more natural to you than everyone else? So I think when I think about the question purpose, that conversation like kind of changed the direction of the way I see things, rather than focusing on, okay, I need to do this, or I need to ask myself this question. Actually, just really listen to yourself. What comes natural to me? What am I passionate about? And I think when you start understanding that, when you start answering that question, and then over time, as we said, like finding purpose is a journey, then that leads to finding purpose. Having a purpose when starting my business, especially because it's social business, was really, really important, right? Because the founder journey, as you probably know, is quite a tough one. And I think having something that's a bit bigger than yourself makes that journey a bit easier. Like it gives you, one, as a founder, that reason to get up in the morning and do what you need to do to drive and move the business forward. I also think because of that, purpose, people are likely to buy into what you do, and you could carry people alongside you more, really. And then the last thing I will add on to that, it gives clarity to what you're doing and why you're doing it, which means as a business, you have a clear goal on this is the direction we're going, this is the problem we're trying to solve, and this is why we're doing it.
Yes, I think that's amazing. I think it also really elevates a team dynamic. So as you start to build out your business, if you have a common vision, a common purpose, a common goal that you're leading with, you'll have a more collaborative team environment. You'll be able to really kind of motivate the other people who are aligned with that vision at your company to continue to help you grow and progress. As you said, there are tons of challenges that come with being a founder. It's not as easy as it seems when you see these amazing companies, in your face. I think having purpose is one of the biggest ways to find success in a business. And it kind of helps you to not deviate from the reason your why for even starting on the journey.
I also think as well that making sure you write that down is important. So I think that's something that I struggle with at the early stage of my business, right? I have all these great ideas, all these things in my head, but actually never putting on paper. So I think it's good, to actually carve out time in your calendar and just write it down on paper. Okay, this is what we're doing. This is why we're doing it.
Yeah.
Aligning your vision looks like, with a business idea, looks something like, okay, you define the problem and then you say, okay, what is the best way to solve this problem? And you start speaking to people about it. And that's when you start seeing the potential solution about to solve the problem. So I think it's probably better to start with the problem in mind and look, okay, what would good look like? If this problem could be wiped away, what would good look like? And then mapping out a way to get to that good. And then in there somewhere, and this is really important actually, that to really form a business out of it, there needs to be some sort of value proposition to people, and who's paying for it and why. And I think that's really hard because it's easy to define a problem, to get a potential solution, but if for whatever reason you're not able to really define your value proposition and get people to depart with money because of it, then actually you don't have a business, and that could be the biggest struggle.
Yeah, I think I'm super passionate about yoga, and I'm a yoga instructor, and I think that from a purpose perspective, I could definitely say that it fills my cup outside of my main job, my full-time job. When I look at how that translates to a business that's profitable, because economics are very important to starting a business, I totally agree. I think you have to kind of figure out what that business model is. And, being a yoga instructor and going from studio to studio teaching, I can kind of have a brand around yoga that kind of maybe elevates that to make it, beneficial. And maybe there is a deeper problem that I'm out to solve from, kind of being able to bring yoga to everyone and ensure that it's accessible. But how do you kind of tie in an actual business model that equates to something that's solid, that can grow and scale? And I think sometimes, trying to take purpose to the finish line of being a really strong business, you have to kind of think about what that looks like. Is there a tech element that you can build into it to elevate it? Is there a marketplace that's not saturated within the space that you can kind of be the first in market for? Or is there market share in some way? What is the USP? And I think that is how you have to really strategically look at what you're trying to do, because to be fair, purpose is so valuable, but it's not enough. It has to be a viable business. And so I think really kind of peeling back the layers and understanding how to scale and develop a business that's unique and has a lot of value is super important to be matched with that purpose and passion that's driving you to press go.
No, I completely agree. I think alongside as well, I'll probably say to begin with the end in mind, in terms of looking at, okay, from the beginning, ask yourself that question: how do I make money? Sometimes it feels like a dirty word, especially if you're a social business or you care so much about what you're trying to do and you just want to make a difference in the world, which is great. But the best way to look is, if your business model doesn't exist or you don't have a way of making money, then you can't fulfill your passion, you can't fulfill your purpose, or you can't solve the problem that you're trying to solve. So actually it becomes really integral to have a sustainable business. And I think really from the onset, just asking that question and being patient with yourself as well, and something that sometimes we don't have, especially as a solo founder or as a young business. In the tech space, it's called like a product market fit, and some companies go years, especially like VC companies, before figuring that out. But as it's a business owner that's just starting out, you might not have like years to figure it out. So you have to try and like be really creative around how you figure out that process from quite early on. And I would also say like to experiment with a lot of ideas, and don't be afraid to try something. If it doesn't work, try something else. Find out, speak to as many people, customers of your business as possible. Find out why they're engaging with your business or your service that you're providing. Find out, would they be willing to pay, and how much they will be willing to pay. Like do some market research as well. Look for what competitors are doing within the space, and then I think you mentioned it earlier, and that that's the word. What's your USP? What makes you stand out from everyone else that they're offering, really.
Setting goals and having a clear activation plan around your vision is super important. I personally like to set long-term and short-term goals. So think really big and kind of think of that from a 5 to 10 year perspective. And then also think relatively like short-term, so 6 months to 2 years, on activation and really writing things down. So putting them in list format, then going back, reprioritizing to see what are the key things that I want to kind of get done that's aligned with the business and the bigger vision, so that I can be, A, have a level of accountability, and B, be really intentional about how I prioritize time as it relates to kind of getting the business to the next level. So I think writing things down is so important, because it also gives you a framework of gratitude when you're able to tick things off of your list. And I think it also just keeps a level of organization, because obviously starting a business, you'll have stuff thrown at you that you never imagined. You'll have, as you grow, human capital issues, and oh shoot, I now need to do this operational thing. So I think having key goals written down, knowing when you want to do them, is so vital to kind of making sure that you stay aligned with your vision, purpose, and you grow your business.
No, completely agree. I think I'm very old school, pen and paper.
Yes.
Like, I think I'm a visual person, right? So, like writing it down, drawing pictures where needed, and seeing where you're going, just give that clarity a little bit as well. I think I'm to be quite ambitious as well with what that looks like. To really dream big. Like you said, look forward to like 10 years time. What would great look like for your company in 10 years time? What would great look like for your company in 5 years time? And then try to work in a quarterly basis. So in a year's time, this is where we will be, right? And try to set some goals quarterly for that year.
My top tip for someone looking to find their purpose is to abandon perfection and simply take the next step.
My top tip for finding your purpose is to really ask yourself what sets you apart from everyone else. Like, what is your edge? I think in asking that question, you actually find out what that looks like and drive towards that route.